Hi, ThatPaulGuy. Sitting in front of me is a Dell Inspiron 7000 gaming. It's an Inspiron 5 or 15 7000 gaming, whatever. It's a 15-inch 7000 series gaming laptop that's about 2 years old. Now, I bought this when I was doing a lot of 3D modeling and things like that for school, and you can see what part of the problem is. Now, one of the things I did when I first got it was I put an extra 8 gig of memory in it because it was running on single channel 8 gig. And I guess just to save money or whatever, manufacturers do that all the time to OEM. I went ahead and corrected that. She's got 16 gig, but one thing she does not have is a faster hard drive. It's still got the original 5400 speed laptop notebook drive that's in there, and sometimes it will come up and it will play nice, and sometimes it will come up and it will take 2 minutes or so to load up. We're going to try to do something about that. Now, what I've done is I've got a Samsung 970 EVO Plus. I've got a 960 EVO, I think it is. No, it's an 860 EVO that's in my home PC that I use. It's a 1 terabyte. This one's a 500 gig. The reason why I did a 500 gig is because I've got a 1 terabyte drive that's in here. And you think, okay, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense at all. What are you talking about? Well, I had a couple of different options, and I'll just close this for now. A couple of different options to do with this laptop. First, I could go ahead and just put this in, and then reinstall the operating system from scratch. When you do that, you've got a lot of things left over. You've got your preferences that are already in there. Say you've got a lot of things that have already been downloaded, everything from your Chrome browser to test your Steam startup and all that. And it's really kind of tedious and a pain in the butt to go back and redo all that again. Another option, there's a lot of software out there that allow you to go ahead and migrate the operating system to a smaller drive. Again, I probably could have gone with a 128 or a 250 gig and done something like that. But again, that's very, very tedious. So I took a look and see how much space I was actually using on the 1 terabyte drive. And it turns out I'm only using about 430 gig. I could trim that down a little bit by knocking some stuff off my Steam library and out of my Epic library to go ahead and re-download, or even better yet, if I just go ahead and trim things down a little bit, I could, by maybe 50 or 60 gig, I could clone that onto the new SSD, still keep some of the remaining stuff, or better yet, I could just go ahead and save the files themselves or the boot files themselves and get rid of all the other stuff and keep using a 2 terabyte external that I've got for all my Steam games, my Epic games, and things of that nature. So a bunch of different options. What did I finally go with? Well, I tried a combination of a couple of things, but in the end, what I ended up doing is I tried just to go ahead and clone the material and the data that was on the 1 terabyte already onto the 500 gig straight across. That's the reason why I got the 500 gig. It was a good price, and I did that. And I went ahead and decided we're going to just clone it. I downloaded some free software. In this case, I was trying to use Macrium. I had used it before on some other stuff, and lo and behold, it took forever. I mean forever. About 5 hours, 5.5 hours. And then I made a silly mistake. I decided I was going to go ahead and try to look and see what the file directory looked like and look and see what the volumes looked like. And I noticed that it wasn't using the entire, well, I knew it wasn't going to use the entire 500 gig, but it wasn't even coming close. It had copied just over what the data was, and then the rest of it was an unallocated disk space. And so I figured, my smart self, I was going to go ahead and try to extend the volume out to include as much usable space as I could. It erased everything. I went back and thought, well, okay, it's not really erased. The data is not gone. It's just in a table somewhere that it can't find. Couldn't find it. So I went ahead and decided to try to clone it again. By this time, I decided I was just going to do it overnight and wake up in the morning. Funny thing about that, when I tried to go ahead and it had already been cloned and everything looked good, all the files were there, I could see everything, but when I went to try to make this a boot device, it didn't like it. Even though it recognized the drive and it said, yeah, your drive's there, the BIOS said, no, we're not going to play this game. So the BIOS wouldn't recognize it as a bootable drive. And so I had to go try to find something else. In the end, what I ended up doing, quite honestly, is I used Samsung's own data migration, their own data migration software. It's probably best to use the original stuff, or if you've got a Samsung, get Samsung. If you've got a data, get their A-Data software. If you've got a Western Digital, get Western Digital software. It's probably best to go ahead with whatever brand, because they've tailored it to migrate whatever data to their drive, and that works best. It took a whole 45 minutes to go ahead and move all that data over that took 5 hours before. Again, I went and I figured, okay, now I'll go ahead and make this where I can do, I've got a boot drive. I know it's going to be a good boot drive now, and still didn't show up. So I went into Windows and I actually had to activate the drive. It saw it as a drive, but it didn't have it activated because it said there was a conflict because both of them had a boot drive on them. So I went ahead and I activated that. Didn't show me any conflicts when I was doing it. I then went ahead and was able to go through and go to the boot directory, found it as a boot device, and sped things up considerably. So now, after all that is said and done, and I've swapped everything over, I should be able to get it to come up very, very quickly. In fact, on the average, it's about 25 seconds or so. It doesn't make me wait very long for it at all. I'm much, much happier with a very fast speed, and there it is. And I don't foresee too many problems in the future trying to deal with that. What I am going to do is I'm going to use the 1 terabyte drive as now my D drive, so I can store some stuff on it. But as far as games and everything like that, I'm just going to keep those on the external. Those are doing me fine, and I need the extra storage space. But all the files, all the resets, all the updates from Windows, all that other stuff, trying to run things and edit things, they should run much, much faster on the SSD drive, and I think it's going to do me a lot better. So my advice is, if you do have an older computer, get ready for some patience. Now, the Samsung drives are great. They are coming. As a matter of fact, the 970 Plus was the same price as the 970, which was actually cheaper than the 960. And I'm not quite sure why that was, but I did that for the same capacity, same 500 gig. Not sure why that is, but I did it anyway. And I was pretty happy with just putting in there what I put in. All in all, that's what it is. I mean, if you've got an older computer, you can definitely speed it up and definitely kind of pep it up a little bit. More memory, SSD, it's a tried and true method. Just about every tech tuber out there is going to tell you that that's one of the best ways to try to speed up an older laptop or an older computer, and there's proof of it here as well. So that's all I got for right now, folks. I was just kind of letting you know what I was going through this week is my little project. And if you like the video, hit like. If you don't, well, you can hit the dislike if you want to. Do all that YouTube stuff. Leave me any kind of comments. Do you have a laptop that you've had to do something with? How much trouble did you have when you try to put a different hard drive or a different SSD or something like that in it? Leave me stuff in the comments. Let me know. But that's it for right now. So until next time, I'll see you later.